And then we're going to turn to page 91. So go ahead and go to 91 in your grammar books. Oops, I'm sideways here. There we go. 91. Okay, today we're talking about homophones. I think we've talked about these before. Remember the word homophone means homo means same, and then phone means sound. So those are the words that sound the same, but they have a different spelling and they mean different things. So we have a lot of those in English, which is kind of tricky. And today we're going to talk about the words it's and its. If you look at the end of that little paragraph at the front, at the top of the page, see how it has ITS and then IT apostrophe S. But when you read those words, they both sound exactly the same. It's its. But because of that apostrophe right there, it changes that word. And we're going to talk about that. So look at this here in the next part. ITS, its, with no apostrophe, is a possessive pronoun. And we know pronouns, right? We know he and she, those are pronouns, but it is also a pronoun if you're talking about a thing that's not a boy or a girl, like a pen or a desk or a computer or a bed. Those things are not boys or girls, right? They're things. So we call those it when we use a pronoun. But if I just have its, it's apples. The apples belong to it, which is the tree, right? Because trees are not boys and girls, right? They're a thing. So it's apples without the apostrophe means it's a possessive adjective. And you're going to mark those with ADJ for adjective if it does not have an apostrophe. But right here, this one says it's IT apostrophe S. That is a contraction. It's dark. And the way we read that is it is dark, right? A contraction is when you put two words together, it and is, it's with an apostrophe. So that's the difference between ITS with no apostrophe. It means it's a possessive adjective. It's telling whose. And then if it has an apostrophe, that is it is. And then that is, says right here, it is a shortened form of it is and functions as a subject pronoun. It and verb is of the clause. So when you have an apostrophe in there, it does two things. It's a subject pronoun and it's a verb is with it. That's like a linking verb or a helping verb. Okay, so you're going to place a line through the incorrect homophone and write the correct word above it. So they're going to do it wrong on purpose just for you. Lucky you. You get to find their mistakes. And then you're going to draw a line through it and then write it the correct way above it. Look at this example right here in the middle of your page. It says, it's sad that the horn is no longer with its original owner. So originally, before they crossed it out, it was just ITS. And that would mean like an adjective. And that doesn't fit there. It's sad. It should be, it is sad, right? And that's with the apostrophe. So they just drew a line through it, put it is or it's with the apostrophe. And then right above it, do you see PR? That means pronoun. And then right above that, you see the S. That's the subject. So this word is doing a lot for the sentence right here. It's a pronoun and a subject. And then the V is for verb. That goes right on top of the S part of the word because that stands for it is, right? So is actually a verb. So we've got pronoun, subject, and verb all in one word here. And then if you look at this one down here, its original owner, it would sound weird if I said it is original owner. That doesn't work. So you draw a line through that and put ITS without the apostrophe. And that becomes an adjective. So ADJ for adjective. That's how you're going to mark it here. And next we're going to talk about quotation marks. You guys know we've read stories that have speaking parts like King Midas. We read about that one. And the Little Red Hen, that one has a lot of speaking parts, right? All the pig and the cat and the rat and the hen, everybody's talking. And we know it's a pretend story because those animals don't speak English in real life, but they do in our story. And when they speak, we use quotation marks around that, which are those two little hash marks. I like to go like that when I talk about them. But that's the part that they say. So right here, the quote, I want the gold. That's what the princess is saying. So I want the gold is the quote. That's what she's saying. And then the attribution is who's saying it and how they're saying it. And here we have the princess declared. Obviously, the princess is talking here. And the way she says it, she declares it. So she says, I want the gold. Sounds like King Midas to me. That's what he said too, huh? Okay, so the quote is the sentence in quotation marks. The attribution is the person speaking and the speaking verb, just like we talked about. So here's some rules about capitalizing. It says capitalize the first word of a quoted sentence. So whenever somebody's talking, that first word needs a capital, just like a regular sentence. And then it says capitalize the first word of the attribution when it begins the sentence. Do not capitalize the first word of the attribution when it follows the quote. So here's the pattern. You see the big dark A and then the big dark Q and the big dark Q here. That's just showing you what to capitalize. So if the attribution comes first, that should be a capital. And then the quote is always capital because it's like its own sentence. So same here, if the quote comes first, capital. But if the attribution comes after the quote, you don't have to capitalize that one. So that's the pattern to follow. And they're going to make mistakes in this book just for you because they love to trick you. And you're going to have to figure out where those capitals go. Okay, so look at these two examples at the very, very bottom. It says, look at the gold, the princess exclaimed. So the quote is coming first here, what she says. It needs a capital. So those little three lines right there show us that's how we mark it in the book. We already do that for other sentences, but that's what you do for a quote too. And then if the attribution comes after, notice the word the right here is not capitalized. So if it's after the quote, you don't have to capitalize it. But look at the next one. It's backwards. The princess exclaimed, look at the gold. So here it does need a capital. Oh, here comes Olivia. I'm going to let her in here. So if the attribution comes first, capitalize that letter, the first letter, and then the quote always has a capital letter at the beginning of the quote. Do you guys have any questions about this page at all? No? You just shake your head no if you don't have any questions. Okay, let's go on to the practice page. We're on page 93, Olivia. You missed the lesson, but I recorded it if you need to go back and watch that. Let's see. Jonah, can you read it for us today, please?
The princess, who now owned the three magic gifts, crept to the palace.
Good. Hi, Olivia.
I see the homophone already.
You do? Okay, good. Um, what's the homophone?
It's actually TO instead of the number 2.
I think we need to fix that. It's bugging me. I agree with that. Let's fix that. So instead of TWO, it should be TO. Okay, Olivia, we're on 93, okay? Okay. The vocabulary word is owned. We know what that means. It means something belongs to you. If you own it, it's yours, right? So that's easy to know. So check that. Another word on here that you might not know is that word crept. And that is the past tense for creep. And when something or someone is creeping around, it means they're like tiptoeing. It's almost like they're sneaking around. So crept into the palace just means like she was sneaking into the palace, just so you know what that word means. Okay, and it's past tense, so it's crept. There's 3 articles in here, so go ahead and find those by yourself real quick and mark those. Okay, and then Noah, what about the three nouns? Make sure you unmute. You got to unmute because I can't hear you. There you go.
Gifts, palace, and magic.
Palace. Okay, not magic because that's telling what kind of gifts. So magic is actually going to become an adjective because it's telling about the gifts. So we're not going to mark magic, but there's another one in here. It's a person.
Princess?
Yes, princess is a noun. So that reminds me, you guys should make sure to read the sentence before you do your homework because you're right. Sometimes the word magic is a noun. But in this sentence, it's telling about the gifts, like what kind of gifts they are. So it's becoming an adjective. Speaking of adjectives, Olivia, where are the three adjectives here? Or two adjectives, sorry. We just talked about one of them.
Magic.
Magic is one. What else?
Owned.
No, that's going to be a verb. So there's a word that tells how many for adjectives. How many gifts?
Three.
There you go. Three. Three magic gifts. That's telling about the gifts. So that's why those are adjectives. I'm going to jump down to verbs next because sometimes those prepositional phrases get me stuck. So I think we should do verbs. So Noah, where are the verbs in the sentence?
Wrapped and owned.
Yes, very good. Crept and owned. Even though it says two subject verb pairs, sometimes there's more than that for the verbs, but this time there is only two. So just so you know, sometimes there's more. And how about the subjects, Jonah? Who did those things?
The princess?
Princess is one, and there's one more subject. This
One
one's,
more?
yeah, it's a little tricky because it has to do with the who clause.
The who. Is it
Who?
who right there? Who?
Yes. Let's mark the clause. It's this whole part right here. Who now own the three magic gifts? That's the who clause. But you're right. We're going to put WW here. But the who is the subject inside that clause. So sometimes it might help to find that clause first. But anyway, we got both of those. Now the prepositional phrase, Olivia.
Is it now? Now, now.
Actually, you know what? I would think so too, but it's not now because, and we don't have a label on that yet. So it's not going to be now though. That's not a preposition. It's another one. Do you see it, Olivia? Everything has a label except for now. You're right about that, Jonah. But this homophone, we fixed the spelling, but it doesn't have a label on it yet. So that's going to be the preposition.
Um, to the palace.
There you go. To the palace. Yes. To the palace. You see that, Jonah? Right there. Okay. Now is just one of those random words that doesn't have a label on that. Um, but anyway, that's not the preposition. So capital, we already know that, the beginning of the sentence. End mark as a period, and we already fixed the homophone. We did it. Good job, you guys. Remember, in a who or which clause, it's usually who or which that is the subject of that clause. So remember that too. Okay, so go ahead and put away grammar and get out your binders next. Now, I'm going to go ahead and stop the recording since you're here now, Olivia, but if you want to go back and watch the grammar lesson, you can, okay? But since you're here,